If you've been in the YouTube space whatsoever, and you're also a cinematographer or somebody that's into video, you've probably seen the Sirui Nightwalker lenses. They're known for their 1.2 apertures, hence the name Nightwalker, because they are great in low light and they give you a beautiful blurry background, which a lot of people really love. I've actually owned another one of these lenses, a 24mm for the XH2, and it did fantastically. And so have these 16 and 75mm lenses. One of the things that really stands out to me about the 16 is the flares that you can get with it. I absolutely love character in lenses, and this one offers a lot. The 75mm has a little bit of character that's more like a larger flare, so it's not like a nice cut through circular flare like I really like, but it is nice that it has a little bit of character and it looks a little bit different. And for any kind of short film, documentary style stuff, I really enjoy that look. So we're gonna hop into this review. I'm gonna talk about my thoughts and something that I have never heard anybody else talk about on YouTube about APS-C lenses on a full frame camera, and I think you might find that a bit interesting. So a few things that Sirui has done right is they have kept all of these lenses the same exact size. You have the 16, the 24, the 35, the 55, and then now the 75. And it's great that they have all of the same gear positionings as well. And I really love the fact that these lenses have markings on both sides. So if you're on set and you have somebody using a follow focus and you need them to be there to see it, they can see it from the other side, so they don't have to be on your side, which is very convenient if you are using this on set. The minimum focus and distance of the 16mm is 0.3 meters, which is really close in my opinion for something like this. And the 75mm is a 0.7 meter minimum focus and distance, which is a lot at 75mm, which is equivalent to around 110mm. And in my opinion, shooting these two lenses together is very important. And the reason I say that is because it's a lot easier to tell a story with a wider focal length, which I typically shoot on, and then a longer focal length. So you can actually punch into your subject and get more personal with the subject that you're shooting. I think this is important photography and video because you need to tell a story and everything's not always wide and everything's not always tight. I've actually shot photos with the 75mm at a wedding because I didn't have a 110 focal length. The longest focal range that I use is a 24 to 70, and I barely used that lens. But having this lens was great to shoot that. And here are the images to show you that the quality of this lens is actually really sharp for photography as well, and that obviously stands out in video alongside of that. Make sure you subscribe to the channel because it is free, and secondly, it's a great community to be in because there's so many questions that I love to answer, and conversation is what it's all about in my opinion. Instagram, not so much. It's just, hey, great photo, whatever. But here we have really nice conversations, and I want you to be a part of that. So thank you so much for subscribing and watching my videos. I haven't noticed a lot of chromatic aberration in these lenses, and I feel like it's a lot easier to capture in photo versus video because you're moving so much. I haven't seen anything personally, and I may be wrong, but I've shot a lot of things with this lens and I've not noticed any chromatic aberration. So if it's there, it's not very noticeable to me, what I've seen so far. And this is the 16 and 75, so the 24mm, I didn't have a problem with that one either. So chromatic aberration isn't an issue for these lenses as far as I can tell. These are not weather sealed. If you have a camera that's weather sealed, obviously that helps a little bit, but I wouldn't go out in the rain with these lenses if I were you, unless you had some type of coverage or some kind of bag to put your camera in. Just something that I thought you should know since I am reviewing this. I think it's kind of important to know what you're getting yourself into. If you're somebody that shoots in inclement weather a lot, I probably would pass on these, but most people seem to try to avoid that altogether. But if you are a small filmmaker and you want to do films in the rain for whatever reason, I wouldn't recommend using this lens for that, or any of them. This is the 24mm 1.4 Sigma Art lens that I have for my Sony. It's a full frame lens on a full frame camera. I want to show you what the Sirui Nightwalker 16mm 1.2 looks like compared to this lens. So now this is the 16mm Sirui Nightwalker 1.2, and this is what it looks like in crop sensor mode, Super 35 mode. A lot of people are hesitant to purchase crop sensor lenses for their full frame camera, although I'm shooting it on an A7 III at this current moment, and it looks great. I've shot tons of things with it, but the thing that catches my attention more than anything is that if you're not using it on Super 35 mode, what happens? And the truth is, it's pretty cool because you can crop into this huge field of view to create around an 18 to 20 millimeter focal length. So you actually have more focal lengths within one lens, which I find pretty compelling. And honestly, these lenses are not expensive whatsoever, and to have the ability to shoot this on a full frame, get a great depth of field at 1.2 and also really great in low light, I think this is such a fun idea to use and implement within your videography. I've used this quite a bit, and I shot a lot with the Chef, the video that you saw at the beginning. A lot of this was shot at the full frame like you see now, but I just cropped in so I could move my composition, or if I wanted something wider, I didn't have to stick to that 24. I'm still shooting at 4K and everything still looks really nice. So I think this is something that isn't talked about very often. I haven't seen a video about this yet, so I wanted to show you that you can use these lenses on full frame. And I mean, obviously the image quality is really, really great, and I think they're actually a bit better than they have been in the past. I own the 24 millimeter for the XH2, and it was really, really nice, but it wasn't as sharp as these. And although whenever I'm shooting something for video, I really don't care about the sharpness as much as I do for photography, because it is a moving picture and nobody's gonna sit there and stare at it. So that's my opinion, of course, but I did want to show you what you can get with this lens at full frame. Overall, honestly, these two lenses have been great. They haven't really been off of my camera other than when I'm doing photography. I've done so much video work with these lenses, and I love this 16 millimeter. I shoot a lot of wide stuff, and I want to show you what the 75 millimeter looks like as well. It's just so great that they have the same filter thread, so I can take my Haida filter thread off and just throw it onto my 75 millimeter. 1.2 is very bright. So this is what it looks like whenever you're shooting Super 35 on a full frame camera with the 75 millimeter. This is around 110 millimeters, and it's pretty freaking close if you ask me. I'm going to show you what it looks like using the full frame. So as you can tell, there's a lot more space around the subject, being myself. The vignetting on this is not as bad as you can see in the corner. So you can crop in a little bit less to get more of a larger frame if you wanted to. So I think around 85 millimeters is probably what you would end up with if you cropped in a little bit. I just wanted to show the versatility of these lenses because nobody ever talks about this aspect of it. And yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned something about the 16 and the 75. In my opinion, they work really well together in order to tell a really good story. You can purchase these two together and they come in a really nice soft case, so you can throw them in your bag and not have to worry about them dinging up against anything. Yeah, it's been great. And until next time, peace.